Women played roles such as being nurses, being test pilots, and fulfilling many other essential roles. Another big role women played was taking the men's jobs at home. They worked in war factories, planted victory gardens, saved up for war bonds, and used rations to save food for the soldiers.
I studied propaganda about women. These propaganda advertisements encouraged women to take part in war efforts. Also, it encouraged women to take jobs that men had left. Rosie the Riveter was a popular woman's propaganda. She is saying, "We can do it," and encouraging women to help. Another popular propaganda was telling women to take jobs that men usually did. Since so many men were drafted and forced to leave their jobs, women had to take over their jobs. Many posters showed women working in factories doing the jobs that men usually did. Propaganda posters also encouraged women to be a Marine, a pilot, and enlist in the war programs.
I studied women at home, and I learned that during World War II, women learned that they could do more than anyone expected of them. They showed men that they were just as capable as them and they could do anything. Women grew their own victory gardens as shown in this picture because they had to use rations, which meant they could only buy a certain amount of food. They needed more food for their families than the ration points could give them, so they started growing their own food. It was a big sacrifice for these families at home to make, but they knew they had to do it so the soldiers could get more food. I studied women pilots. I learned about the WASPs. The WASPs are the Women's Air Force Service pilots. They were women pilots who helped the war effort during World War II. They took planes from factories to army bases, helped test planes, helped train men, and more. The WASPs program ended in December of 1944. Not until later did the women get recognition for all the wonderful things they did to help the war effort.
I studied spies. This was directed by the OSS, also known as the Office of Strategic Services. For the duration of the World War II, the Office of Strategic Services was conducting multiple activities and missions, including collecting intelligence by spying, performing acts of sabotage, waging propaganda war, organizing and coordinating anti-Nazi resistance groups in Europe, providing military training for anti-Japanese movement in Asia, among other things.
I studied nurses. In 1941, the Army Nurse Corps started taking more volunteers. The criteria to become a nurse was a U.S. citizen, already registered nurse, between the ages of 21 and 40, and you couldn't have any children younger than 14. 201 nurses died in the war. Nurses had to train in field sanitation, psychiatry, and anesthetics, and physical trainers to build up endurance. In this image, you can see that a nurse is applying a bandage to a soldier's arm. These women did things from applying bandage to conducting surgery. This image shows how the nurses helped the doctors throughout the war. They worked hard to make sure everyone was healthy and happy.